Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's story. In this episode, we dive into one of the most unforgettable turning points between Alex and Tuna. What begins as a simple evening of planting vegetables, sharing dinner, suddenly transforms into a moment that changes everything. The moment Alex finally confesses his love. But with that confession comes fear, hope, and a ripple of emotions neither of them is prepared for. As the night deepens, their quiet countryside home becomes the backdrop for one of the most tender scenes in their journey. Stay until the end, because this episode captures not only a confession, but the beginning of something far deeper. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Your support truly means the world to us. The last rays of sunlight drape themselves across the little garden like warm silk, brushing over every leaf and stone. Tuna is kneeling in the soil with her sleeves rolled high, hands muddy from a full afternoon of planting. Sweat beads along her temples and runs down her cheeks, but there's a calm glow in her eyes, the kind that comes from working with the earth, not against it. Just as she leans forward to pat down a mound of soil, she hears the soft crunch of footsteps. Before she can look up, Alex's shadow spills across the garden bed. He steps forward with that familiar half-smile, already shrugging off his suit jacket. By the time she stands, he's rolled his sleeves to the elbow and dropped to his knees beside her like it's the most natural thing in the world. "What are you doing here?" she asks, laughing. "Helping," he says simply, or at least trying. They fall into a rhythm so easily, it feels like they've been doing this for years. Digging holes, lowering seedlings, patting the soil. Alex works clumsily at first, but the more he tries, the more he laughs at himself, which makes Tuna laugh even harder. The little garden, usually so quiet, fills with warmth just from the sound of the two of them enjoying the moment. When the last row of seedlings is in place, Tuna wipes her forehead, cheeks flushed with heat and happiness. "Close your eyes," she whispers. Alex raises a brow, but obeys without question. She takes his hands and guides him a few steps back, the smell of loamy soil and fresh leaves rising with every movement. "Okay," she says softly. "Now look." He opens his eyes and freezes. Before him spreads a neat bed of tender young greens, arranged so beautifully that even the fading sunlight seems to pause to admire it. The layout is perfect, the colors fresh and hopeful, the soil dark and rich under the golden dusk. "You did all this?" Alex breathes. Tuna nods shyly. "I wanted it ready before winter really sets in." He doesn't answer. Instead, he steps behind her and wraps his arms around her waist. She stiffens for half a heartbeat, then melts back against him. The garden, the field beyond it, even the hush of the approaching night seems to wrap around them. When he leans forward, his breath warm against her ear, he whispers the words that slip out before he can stop himself. Words he's held onto for too long. "I love you." The world goes still. The small field whispers in the breeze, tender leaves rustling like they heard it too. Tuna turns her head slightly, stunned but unable to stop the slow smile curling across her lips. She doesn't say anything yet. Not because she doesn't want to, but because the moment is too full, too overwhelming, too real. Before anything more can be said, the gate creaks open. Henry returns home in his grandmother's arms, wearing a tiny woolen hat that's slightly crooked but adorable. He giggles the second he sees Alex and reaches out his chubby arms. Alex picks him up with exaggerated effort, lifting him high until Henry squeals. Tuna steps close, kissing his round cheek, and Henry kicks happily between them, caught in the middle of their warmth. As the sky slips from gold to darkening blue, the whole family drifts toward the porch, where warm yellow light spills through the windows. It's a small home, but tonight it feels full of life. Madame Tang hums softly as she folds Henry's extra blanket. Tuna carries Henry inside for his bath. Splashes echo from the bathroom, mixed with little giggles and her soft lullaby. Alex heads to the coop to catch a chicken for dinner. Feathers burst in the air like tiny fireworks while he chases the fattest hen around the yard. Tuna calls instructions from the doorway, laughing at his dramatic frustration. Eventually, he triumphs, holding the chicken up like a trophy while everyone claps and Henry squeals in approval. Inside, Henry lies on a small woven mat, staring up at the flickering firelight with round, curious eyes. Tuna towels him dry and dresses him in a soft cotton shirt. His tiny fists clutch at the air, reaching for her. Alex scoots close and gently touches the baby's hand. Henry immediately grabs his finger and refuses to let go. For a moment, the world shrinks beautifully. Just the three of them. The crackling fire, the faint scent of baby soap, and the warm coziness of a simple home. Once Henry falls asleep, Madame Tang heads to her room, leaving Alex and Tuna alone at the old wooden table. A pot of boiled chicken sits steaming between them, fragrant enough to make the entire house feel warmer. The fire crackles, the wind whistles outside, and everything else fades into a gentle hush. Alex picks up a piece of chicken and places it carefully into Tuna's bowl. His eyes never leave her face. "You know," he murmurs, voice rough with emotion he can't quite hide. "Whenever I'm with you, all the pressure disappears." Tuna pauses. The chopsticks in her hand tremble slightly. She doesn't say anything at first. Instead, she reaches across the table and grips his hand. Hard, like she's afraid he'll vanish if she lets go. Tears shimmer along her lashes, catching the firelight. "Alex," she whispers, "thank you for coming to me. Thank you for appearing in my life." Every word drops with the weight of sincerity, soft but unmistakably deep. Alex tightens his fingers around hers, and for a long moment, neither speaks. They just sit there, sharing the same quiet breath, the same quiet understanding. Their hearts say more than any sentence could. They eat together slowly, feeding each other little bites, laughing at small jokes, falling quiet when their eyes meet for too long. There's a softness between them, a tenderness that fills the space like warm mist. Outside, the night deepens and the cold thickens, but inside, their hearts burn steady and bright. In these moments, Alex isn't a CEO, a leader, or a man carrying the weight of a company. He's just a man in love, one who's found something precious he never expected in the countryside soil. After they finish eating, they step outside to the porch, sitting side by side as the night wind slides across the yard. Crickets chirp, leaves rustle, and the sky stretches endlessly above them. Alex glances at Tuna with a heaviness he can't quite hide. "Tomorrow," he murmurs, "I have to leave early. It's for an important contract." Tuna nods slowly. She tries to smile, tries to show she understands, but a flicker of sadness crosses her eyes before she can hide it. Alex reaches over, pulls her close, and holds her tight. He presses a gentle kiss to her hair, then her forehead, lingering as if memorizing her warmth. They stay like that for a long time, until the night deepens and the cold settles, but neither wants to let go. The cold deepens until the wooden porch begins to creak under the shifting night air. Eventually, Alex forces himself to stand, though every part of him longs to stay right where he is, with her tucked beneath his chin, her warmth pressed against him. She rises with him, and for a moment, they simply face each other in the dim glow of the single porch lamp. "Get some sleep," Tuna murmurs. Her voice tries to stay steady, but it dips at the end, betraying everything she's trying to hide. Alex cups her cheek with one hand. "You too. I'll be back before you know it." She nods, though they both know time feels different when you're waiting for someone. The motorbike roars to life a minute later, its headlights slicing through the darkness. Alex sits straight-backed on the seat, glancing once, twice, 3 times at Tuna standing by the gate. She hugs her arms around herself, the night wind tugging her hair, her eyes fixed only on him. He lifts a hand before he pulls away. She waves back, not moving until the light disappears into the black horizon. Only when silence returns does she let her arms drop and her shoulders sag. Inside, the house is warm again. The fire dances. Henry shifts slightly in his sleep. Tuna kneels beside him, adjusts his blanket, then sits back on her heels. For a moment, she just watches him. His tiny breaths, his round cheeks, the small fist curled beneath his chin. She whispers to him, even though he can't hear. "Your dad. He confessed today." The words sound unreal even to herself, hovering in the quiet like something fragile. She touches Henry's cheek gently. "He said he loves me." A small, trembling smile appears. "And I think my heart knew long before he said it." Yet, beneath the warmth, a seed of fear lingers, one that she tries to bury again and again. Love brings joy, yes, but it also brings uncertainty. She has lived long enough to know that happiness is not always kind, and life doesn't always let people stay. She exhales slowly, chasing away the heaviness. One day at a time, she tells herself. One good moment at a time. She tucks Henry in more securely and moves to the small stove to prepare porridge for tomorrow's breakfast. As she stirs the pot, steam rising into her face, she can't stop replaying Alex's voice from the table, the warmth in his eyes, the honesty in his confession, the way her own heart nearly burst when she heard it. Meanwhile, miles down the dark rural road, Alex rides through the freezing wind. But he hardly feels the bite of it. His face is numb, his fingers stiff on the handlebars, yet inside, he is burning. He replays the moment he blurted out the words, "I love you," the way he didn't plan to say it, didn't calculate timing, didn't measure consequences. It simply burst out. It felt right in a way nothing in his meticulously structured life ever has. The night air whistles past him. Each mile puts him farther from Tuna's house, Yet paradoxically, his heart feels pulled tighter toward her. He thinks of her muddy hands in the garden, her flushed cheeks in the fading sunlight, her smile as she guided him through planting seedlings. He thinks of Henry's tiny hand grabbing his finger, refusing to let go. He thinks of the homey glow of the fire, the simple meal they shared, the way his chest tightened when she thanked him for appearing in her life. A man like him, who has spent years negotiating deals, building a company, surviving setbacks and betrayals. He didn't expect that the thing that would change him most wasn't a contract or a crisis. It was her. He grips the throttle a little harder. "I'll come back," he vows silently. "No matter what I face tomorrow, I'll return to her." Back at the house, Tuna finishes cleaning the dishes, then steps out to the porch again. She sits on the wooden step, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. The night is sharp and quiet, the sky a velvet stretch of black and silver. She listens to the distant sound of wind stirring the bamboo and lets her thoughts wander. She doesn't know when exactly she started falling for Alex. Was it the day he helped her carry crates of pomelos without being asked? The night he stayed late to fix a broken lamp in the house? The morning he found Henry crying and rocked him gently until he slept again? Or maybe it was all the little things, small acts of care that built themselves into something unshakable. But tonight, everything feels more real, more vulnerable, more frightening. She bites her lip and looks toward the empty road where he disappeared. "Please be safe," she whispers to the wind. A sudden rustling draws her attention. Madame Tang opens the door, wrapped in a blanket. "Why aren't you sleeping, child?" Tuna smiles shyly. "Just thinking." The old woman steps out and lowers herself beside her, creaky joints protesting. "About Alex?" Tuna's face heats immediately. She looks down at her hands. "Grandma, he told me he loves me tonight." Madame Tang doesn't seem surprised at all. In fact, she chuckles softly. "It's about time." Tuna lifts her eyes, startled. "You knew?" "Of course," the grandmother says, patting her hand. "The way that man looks at you, like you're the only star in his sky. A blind person could see it." Tuna laughs, tears gathering suddenly. "I'm scared," she admits. The old woman's voice softens. "Love always comes with fear, child, but it is better to fear losing something precious than to have nothing precious at all." Tuna leans her head on her grandmother's shoulder. "I just don't want to be hurt again." "You won't," Madame Tang assures her gently. "Not by him. That man cherishes you. I see it. And Henry needs someone who loves him like that too." Tuna breathes deeply, the tension easing from her shoulders. They sit in silence for a while, listening to the leaves rustle and the faint call of night birds. Eventually, Madame Tang nudges her. "Come inside. It's cold. Tomorrow will be a long day." Alex reaches the town's small guest house, parks the bike, and checks in with barely functioning fingers. He drops onto the bed fully clothed, staring at the ceiling. Exhaustion tugs at him, but sleep doesn't come immediately. Instead, he relives the moment Tuna's hand tightened around his, the way she looked at him with tears in her eyes. He smiles to himself, tired but happy. She didn't push me away, he thinks. She held my hand. That alone is enough to carry him through whatever tomorrow brings. He finally closes his eyes, whispering into the darkness, "Tuna, wait for me."